On the front lines of the climate crisis, nations like Bangladesh, Mozambique, and Sri Lanka are fighting not just to adapt, but to survive. These least developed countries contribute just a tiny fraction to global greenhouse gas emissions, and yet they face the most devastating consequences of a warming planet. Floods swallow homes, cyclones tear through coastlines, droughts destroy crops, sea levels rise relentlessly. But the crisis doesn't end there. According to the Climate Debt Risk Index, countries like these are caught in a deepening financial trap. As they seek funding to protect their people and rebuild their futures, they're forced to rely on loans, debt that grows with every storm and disaster. The CDRI reveals a disturbing truth. The countries least responsible for climate change are the ones paying the highest price, not just in lives and livelihoods, but in crushing debt.
Bangladesh's climate debt burden has surged from zero in 2009 to nearly $80 per person. The per capita burden stands at $64 in Sri Lanka, $53 in Cambodia, $48 in Senegal, and $41 in Bhutan.
In the last decade, the climate debt of LDCs has surged 24-fold, from $88 billion in 2009 to $21.25 billion in 2022. The path forward looks bleak as more loans pile up for climate adaptation projects. The total climate debt for Bangladesh has increased from $0.34 billion in 2009 to $12.78 billion in 2021, highlighting the country's growing financial strain in the face of climate-related disasters. While the world's developed nations, who contribute the most to emissions, have low climate debt risks, the least developed countries, LDCs, in South Asia are increasingly burdened by debt.
The LDC countries actually emits around less than 3% or 3% of the whole greenhouse gas emissions of the global emissions, but they are bearing almost 69% of the climate-related debts. The debt service from these LDC countries have been increased from $10 billion to the $33 billion during the 2011 and 2019.
But we are facing the additional impacts, and every year we are suffering from loss of damages, loss of properties, loss of livelihoods, loss of productive activities. So in one hand we are losing our GDP growth and productivity, on the other hand we are taking more loans. So these modalities will increase debt burden to the country.
Bangladesh's per capita climate debt stands at $2.04, while Sri Lanka faces a much higher debt at $13.38 per person.
In comparison, Rwanda's is $5.05, Senegal's $4.47, Zambia's $4.21, and Cambodia's $3.67.
Each year, Bangladesh and its neighbors must borrow money to recover from climate disasters, but the loans keep growing and the grants remain insufficient. In Bangladesh, for every $1 in grants, it takes on 0.95 cents in loans. This is a highly unsustainable model. Other LDCs face similarly high loan-to-grant ratios. This loan-heavy financing system is deepening the debt crisis. LDCs need grant-based funding to build climate resilience and avoid further financial collapse. Debt for climate swaps and debt cancellation should be part of the solution.
We have identified that the global commitment to the climate finance per $100 billion was not actually delivering to the LDCs, especially the grant was less than 5% of the year annual commitment. For the grant-based finance, we have to follow some innovative financing, like the carbon tax on the individual and the companies is really important right now to deliver. Second thing is how to use the philanthropic financing, like individual or corporate donation and the community donations. First of all, you have to go for the overall debt relief, massive debt relief. All the debt relief for the LDC and LMS is really very important, which is right now not happening.
Climate debt is more than just numbers on paper. It's the cost of recovering from a disaster, rebuilding after a cyclone, and adapting to a changing environment. It's the growing financial burden on countries already struggling with poverty and underdevelopment.
Wealthy nation, they have huge responsibility for their historical emission and paying the cost to tackle this burden. So we need predictable, adequate, robust climate financing to support locally adaptation for the just transition and reparation for loss and damage. So global north and industrial nation should pay the money for the most affected people right now.
Bangladesh and other LDCs are demanding climate justice. They are not here to beg. They are here to demand equity and fulfillment of climate finance pledges. They are calling for global solidarity and a shift towards fair and sustainable finance.